Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight podcast presented by CVG. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank, and happy April Fool's Day. There are no jokes on this podcast, but we do have a couple of great guests. First up, we are joined by Denise Govan and Cassandra Patterson of the DCCH Center for Children and Families. They highlight their range of services and their upcoming Swing into Spring event happening later this month. We are also joined by Andrew Sherberg of Stages Elder Law and Estate Planning, who talks about how his organization can help the sandwich generation. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, C Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsor, Schneller Knockelman. The Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce has announced our finalists for the 2024 Business Impact Awards presented by Huntington Bank. Congratulations to each of these businesses who are positively impacting the Northern Kentucky Metro through innovation, creativity, strong business practices, and leadership. The winners of the BIA Awards will be announced during an awards ceremony on Thursday, May 2nd at Dries Pavilion. You can register and learn more about each of our finalists at nkychamber.com/BIA. Now, I am very excited to announce that we have a new segment of the Northern Kentucky Spotlight podcast. I'm going to hand it over to Kenton Hornbeck, the business reporter over at NKY, who is going to give us a roundup of Northern Kentucky news. After we hear from Kenton, we will learn more about our sponsors, meet our members of the week, and I'll be back with this week's guests.
The NKY Business Roundup is sponsored by Payroll Partners. Business owners, CFOs, and HR pros just don't have time for hold times and hotlines. They need Payroll Partners.
Welcome back to the NKY Business News Roundup, your go-to source for the latest updates on Northern Kentucky's business scene. I'm Kenton Hornbeck, the business beat reporter at NKY in Covington, and in today's episode, we'll be covering 5 significant developments shaping the region's economic landscape. Northern Kentucky is expected to see a modest population growth over the next 25 years, according to a recent study completed by the Northern Kentucky University Center for Economic Analysis and Development. In total, Northern Kentucky's population is expected to grow by approximately 0.5% through 2050, reaching approximately 457,000 residents, according to the baseline scenario outlined in the study. The baseline projection assumes that the current demographics in a region will continue going forward and is intended to reflect the quote-unquote most likely scenario unless unforeseen economic impacts or policy interventions change the trajectory of net migration. The study was commissioned by BNKY Growth Partnership, Northern Kentucky's primary economic development agency, to assess the region's future demography and workforce composition. In the study, Northern Kentucky is defined as Boone, Kenton, and Campbell County. The NKY Center for Economic Analysis and Development outlined 4 Northern Kentucky population growth scenarios using data from the 2020 U.S. Census. They are pessimistic, baseline, aspirational, and optimistic. 3 main factors determining a region's population growth include births, deaths, and net migration. A second Wawa convenience store and Long Neck Sports Bar could be coming to Boone County, pending the approval of the Boone County Planning and Zoning Commission. On Wednesday night, the commission heard a request during a public hearing for a special sign district, as well as a concept development plan from Anchor Properties, a Covington-based developer who specializes in mixed-use developments. The prospective development site is a 4.1-acre plot of land in Hebron, located slightly north of North Bend Road and Cougar Path intersection. According to Boone County property records, BRG Hebron Station, LLC, is the current owner of the property. The request would allow for the construction of a near 6,000 square foot Wawa convenience store with 8 gas pumps and a nearly 6,500 square foot Long Neck Sports Grill with an outside patio. The official name of the project is Hebron Station. The developer's next steps are to attend a zone change hearing on April 3rd at 5 p.m. and present their plans to the full Planning and Zoning Commission on April 17th at 7 p.m. Last week, Union commissioners discussed the businesses slated to open at the new Union Promenade development. Some were concerned that the businesses weren't quote-unquote high-end enough. Announced in 2021, Union Promenade is a 61-acre project on the north side of Union, which, according to an initial press release, will allocate space for 350 total residential units and 13 commercial use buildings. So far, those businesses include Schlotsky's Deli, an unnamed yoga studio, an unnamed restaurant with a drive-thru, a tropical smoothie shop, a Fifth Third banking location, and a Chick-fil-A restaurant with a drive-thru. Hotels in Erlanger could soon be required to keep a registry of their guests if an ordinance discussed at last Tuesday's City Council meeting comes to fruition. City Attorney Jack Gatlin said the proposal would be added to the nuisance ordinance passed just over a year ago that targeted frequent property offenders. Before an ordinance goes into effect, City Council members would discuss benefits and concerns with local hotel and motel owners. In its current state, Gatlin said the ordinance is vague so as to invite conversation from the community about what it could look like. Information required at check-in under the ordinance would be a valid ID and a license plate number of any car a tenant is keeping at the hotel. And finally, at the March City Council meeting, 2 members of the Fort Thomas Business Council addressed the City Council and the community to introduce themselves and invite business owners to join. The Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce recently created 2 new business councils in Florence and Fort Thomas. That concludes our recap of the latest business news in Northern Kentucky. Stay tuned for more updates on the stories shaping our region's economic landscape. I'm Kenton Hornbeck, signing off for now.
Why would you travel to England?
For football!
To go or not to go?
That is an easy question.
To visit the land of Shakespeare.
To take in all the sights.
Authentic fish and chips.
To experience arts and culture.
2 words, British Open.
To visit my family.
Same reason I go anywhere. For a pint of beer. To start my trip through Europe.
Whatever your reason, there's no better time than now.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Corporex Companies is a national, privately held investment and development firm with a nearly 60-year history of developing world-class hotels, Class A offices, luxury residential, and mixed-use developments. Clark Schaefer Hackett is more than an accounting and advisory firm. They are striving to be your most valued advisor. At Focus CFO, they work with small and medium-sized businesses to provide fractional chief financial officer support. Novalex develops and manufactures diverse packaging products for food service, delivery and carryout, food processor, and industrial markets. Amazing Lash Studio is a premium eyelash extension studio in Northern Kentucky, providing eyelash extension, lash lift perms, brow tinting and lamination, and wax services.
Hi everyone, today on the podcast I am joined by Cassandra Patterson and Denise Govan of DCCH Center for Children and Families. Ladies, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, so let's jump right in. You guys are an organization that does a lot of great work in Northern Kentucky. You guys have been around for a while, but tell us what you guys are actively doing in the community right now.
Sure, I'll start. We are a center for children and families, and we serve an array of, we offer an array of programming. Our flagship program is the residential treatment program. And so that program collectively has been around for 175 years through a couple different partnerships and mergers and acquisitions. We not only serve children through the Northern Kentucky area, but we actually provide services to children all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So we work very closely with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services through the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and as children enter into care due to child abuse and neglect, then they have the opportunity to be referred to us for residential treatment, which is 24/7 care for children. At our organization, it's for children ages 6 through 14. So when people think of DCCH, the orphanage, that's what they think of as the residential treatment program. However, about 20 years ago, the staff started looking at ways to support children in care in addition to the residential treatment program. And from there, that's where our other programs kind of stemmed from. So we have a foster care to adoption program, and again, we work closely with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, and as children are removed, we are diligently every day looking for individuals in the community that are very interested in considering opening their heart and their homes for a child in need. Across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, there are over 6,000 plus children waiting to be welcomed by a family for foster care. And then ultimately, as individuals go through the DCCH foster parent training program, the ultimate goal is long-term adoption so that there's a forever family. Yesterday, fun fact, I had the opportunity to witness an adoption, and there's nothing quite like that experience in the courtroom, which is converse of what we're normally used to, which is not that much of a positive experience sometimes. Right. And so seeing that family, unify with a 8-year-old little girl was incredible.
Yeah, that is so beautiful that you guys are able to place children with families that are going to be able to love and care for them. And you guys do a lot more than that, obviously. That's and I know you want to touch on some of that.
Sure. Yes. So a couple other services that we offer as well is we have targeted case management. So that is a service that works with individuals and families who have children who, things are a little rocky and they're struggling. So our targeted case management staff help put resource connections into place so that the individuals can really focus towards that thriving and moving forward in a positive way to really avoid interaction with the cabinet. Mm-hmm. And we also have our therapy center, and we offer therapy for individuals in the Northern Kentucky area, ages roughly 5 to adults. A lot of people don't realize that we are open to the general public. So we accept commercial insurance, and we also accept Medicaid and Medicare. So obviously a lot of the children that are already enrolled in our programs receive therapy through the counselors and the therapists at our therapy center. But we do have openings within a 1 week of calling for the general population. So we also offer an equine therapy program for the children in our program as well. And a lot of people don't realize that we, fun fact, have 4 horses on our 66-acre campus. Couple other just programs. We have a flea market that is an opportunity for individuals in the community to bring their gently used items to. And then that flea market is open Monday and Thursday and Saturday, third Saturday of the month. The sales raised from that help to fund the services that we provide. And then we have a variety of other volunteer opportunities. We rely heavily on volunteers.
Right.
So there are a variety of ways, and I think if Cass may touch on that, but that individuals can get involved and get connected.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue. Cassandra, tell us about different ways people can get involved.
Yes, so there are a lot of ways that you can get involved with either direct or indirect services to our residents. And like Denise was saying, one of the great ways would be with our flea market. So our flea market is 100% run by volunteers. It's 100% donations, and 100% of the proceeds go directly back into our residential program. So even volunteering by just dropping off donations, our donation bin is open 24/7. So it would be great, but we always could use people who want to help there. you could volunteer with our equine therapy. So if you like mucking for the horses and all that fun stuff, we definitely could use help there. We have a Halo group, which is helping all the little ones. And this group comes together and they plan monthly activities with our residents. They help raise funds. We have our DCCH Ambassador Group, which is newly launching. So May 21st at 7 p.m. is informational night if you want to come out. And that is going to be more on the fundraising and friend-raising side. So we want to get the word out for people to know who we are. I think a lot of people might know us, but they don't know about us.
Yeah.
And then we have individual opportunities as well. Mentoring is a huge need. We would love for all of our children to have a mentor and to have that stability of an adult that they can look up to and have a good relationship with. We also have independent living, which is the bridge for after foster care. After you age out of foster care, you can continue on with services if you're 19 to 21, and you can be a mentor for that. And we even have things like just helping in the kitchen or front desk, or there's a lot of behind the scenes and direct care. So really,
that is a lot of opportunity. And I feel like it's really unique opportunities too. There are a lot of organizations, nonprofits in Northern Kentucky where you can drop off donations and things like that. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you guys really have a lot of opportunity for people to be hands-on and really involved. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about these opportunities, are they for individuals, or are you also open for like corporations and local businesses to bring groups in? Is that also an option?
Yeah, so we have both. We work with school groups come in and do everything from like paint horse fence to we have like some Notre Dame Academy students that tutor some of our students. We have larger corporations that come in and do projects, different things around the grounds. We are open to, you can even come in and do a movie night for our kids and do like a meal. We've had, churches come in and do that, or different corporations. There is a whole gamut. We take groups and individuals. So
yeah. And for people that want to learn how to get involved and find opportunities, where should they go to find those?
Yeah, so you can go to DCCHcenter.org, and there's a tab for volunteers, and it links you right there, and you can fill out the inquiry, and it'll get you to one of our volunteer coordinators.
Very nice. That's an easy place to go. Easy information for our viewers and listeners today. One of the things that I really like that you said is that a lot of people know of you, but a lot of people don't know about you. When you think of that and you say that, what is something that is about DCCH Center that you think people really do need to know, and that like maybe that takeaway for our viewers and listeners that have maybe heard you, maybe seen those signs that I know I see out in the community? Mm-hmm. What do people really need to know about you all?
I think I'll interject, and what everyone really needs to know is that regardless if it's 4 hours a month or 4 hours a week, there is an opportunity to get involved to make an impact on the life of a child. Mm-hmm. And it takes all of us in the community to make that difference, to really reverse some of the trauma that the children have experienced. So this is an opportunity to be a bright spot in their life. And that is, I think, really important for the greater Northern Kentucky community to know.
Yeah. Anything to add on
that? Yeah, I love that Denise said a bright spot, because while we do deal with a lot of heaviness, there is a lot of hope that is in our organization. And, our purpose is for when the children and families come to us that they leave in a much better place. And so being able to be a small part of that is huge, but also to know that there are resources for the individual, whether it's something as needing grief counseling or family therapy or couples counseling. We're here for the community. We want to be a part of the community just as much as we want the community to be a part of us. And the other thing, we can even dive deeper if you had in like homelessness or food insecurities, like we have programs that can help with those things. Mm-hmm. And so, while we do always need volunteers and people to get involved, I would love for people to know that we have services that can help as well.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that children aspect, but you guys serve families as well. And I think that's really important. Can you touch on some of those services that people can take advantage of that you all offer in more of like that family realm?
Mm-hmm. So primarily through the Therapy Center, a lot of the families that are already connected to DCCH, part of their either reunification plan or their family plan is to participate in family counseling. However, outside of that, if individuals are searching for counseling, similar to what I referenced just a few minutes ago, there is not a long wait. Behavioral health challenges and really the crisis in the country has a lot of doctors' offices and different clinics, backed up as much as 6 months for access to care. And I think it's important for listeners to know that if you have someone, regardless if it's for sibling counseling or whole family unit counseling, depression, anxiety, there is quick, accessible care at DCCH Center for Children and Families in our therapy center, which is right on the same campus. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important to know.
It is important to know. And like I said, you guys are doing great work. You guys have been around in the community for a really long time. You guys also have a really exciting event coming up here in a couple of weeks. Yes. It is the Swing into Spring event. So can you guys tell us about that?
I'm going to defer to Kiss.
Yeah, so this is my first one, but it has been going on for years. So this is our largest fundraiser, and it is going to be April 27th. At CTEC, the St. Elizabeth Training Center in Erlanger, and we have such a strong committee. There's like 35 members, and we're looking for sponsors, donations for silent auction raffles, and we have a live auction. It's just a really fun night to kind of get a little dressed up and just enjoy company and having fun. And there's lots of games and activities. And so it's going to be a really great night.
Yeah. And how can people get tickets for that?
Yes. So tickets are very limited and they just went live today. But you can get tickets once again by going to DCCHcenter.org, and there's going to be a drop down for Swing into Spring, and tickets are $125 a piece.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for people who want to get involved but want to go out and have a little bit more fun than maybe being hands-on. So it's a great opportunity. Thank you both so much for your time today. Before I let you go, is there anything else that our viewers and listeners need to know about your organization and how they can get involved?
I think just to reinforce that if you've not been to DCCH, I always like to give homework. So part of this podcast would be to reach out to us and schedule time for a tour. There's nothing more impactful than being on campus and just getting a better sense of some of the underlying challenges that the children and families in our programs face and how the community can be a part of that greater support network.
Yeah. Anything else on your end?
Yeah, I just think that I would love for listeners to know that, at DCCH, we are heart healers, and there's opportunities all around to play a role in that.
Yeah. Well, ladies, thank you so much once again for your time. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Andrew Sherberg, who is the owner and attorney at Stages Elder Law and Estate Planning. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So let's talk about your business. You work with a lot of different types of people, but tell us what you guys do and what your service range is.
Yeah, so we really work with a full spectrum. So we're estate planning and elder law. So we do everything from, the basic wills and power of attorney and things like that everyone should have in place, regardless of age, right? As soon as we kind of reach adulthood, those are the kind of things we should have in place. And then, everything up all the way to elder law, which is an interesting area of the law because a lot of areas of law are more about the topic or the thing that you're doing, and elder law is more about the people you're serving, right? Mm-hmm. So contract law is really about contracts. Well, elder law is not about a specific item, it's the people. And that can be anything from Medicaid planning to working on care planning and all kinds of things.
Yeah, a lot of things go into that. And you said you guys do things a little bit differently at your firm. So tell us what sets you guys apart from other local firms. programs?
Yeah, so particularly on the elder law side, we actually have a care coordinator on our team. So she's fantastic. She's a social gerontologist. She is very passionate about helping seniors. And so when we work with someone, let's talk about maybe someone who's going into a facility, right? They can't live at home anymore and they maybe need to transition into an assisted living or a nursing home. We don't just sort of do the documents that they need for that power of attorney, maybe a trust, those kind of things. But we also help them on the care journey, and that can range from helping them find the appropriate placement. Before we get to that point, I mean, sometimes we're just helping people find a contractor to make it so their houses, they're able to age in place at home.
Yeah.
And we stick with our clients for a year. So it's a year-long relationship. It's renewable at the end of that year. And we really become their guide. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a transaction and we're done. They work with us continuously.
Yeah, and that is such a complicated, I mean, you mentioned Medicare, which is like its own whole crazy thing, but that idea of taking care of yourself or a loved one right now, especially we talk about that sandwich generation where they're taking care of their young kids and they're taking care of their aging parents. Having someone on their side is probably extremely helpful. So touch on that kind of generation of people that you've been working with.
Yeah, I mean, it is the generation that we're seeing right now. People are waiting a little longer to have kids. And now they've got aging parents and they're caught in the mix, mm-hmm. right? And so I do think probably of all the sort of groups of people that we help, that's where we provide the most value because people in that situation are very stressed, right? They're managing either soccer games or basketball games or whatever it is, college visits, all this kind of stuff. And then also trying to make sure that their parents are well taken care of. And it's a hard thing to do. So when they come to us, instead of having to maybe do all the research on, what are the next steps for mom or dad? How could we make the house more accessible? How do we keep them at home as long as possible? What do we do about finances? That's always the big question is, are we going to run out of money? All those kind of questions. They now have sort of one source to come to when they're working with us. And so they just call and they say, hey, this is our challenge. And we walk them through all of those steps. Mm-hmm. And I think it's, like I said, I think it provides a lot of value and relieves a lot of stress. That's the other thing is the number of clients who walk out and just tell us that they feel better it's all of them.
Yeah, weight off the shoulders. I know we've talked about that a lot. There are a lot of conversations at the chamber that happen with our members and with events and things like that, talking about how do we serve this population that is our workforce when they are dealing with all of these struggles, bringing those into the workplace and then going home and dealing with them.
Yeah, and it is a workforce issue. I mean, that we're seeing that. We see clients who they're taking time off to come have the appointment with us, and that's fine because they know it's going to save them from having to take time off for all the other things that they thought they were going to have to do. And again, with the sandwich generation, not only are they taking time off to help mom and dad, they're taking time off to help with the kids. They're distracted at work. It leads to a lot of sort of negative, just the stress, the stress on your mind when you're at work. So I do think it's very helpful when people work with us that they're able to take some of that burden off. It's not on their shoulders anymore, and they're able to focus on the things that they want to focus on. Yeah. Not that they don't want to focus on taking care of their parents, but for most people, they're going through that journey for the first time, and so it's a lot of having to learn all new things and find people you trust. That's always a hard thing too.
Yeah, so it's great to have you in the corner. And then do you work with just individuals or do you work with businesses? How does that work if somebody wants to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, generally we're working with individuals, but part of what we believe in is providing education. So we're always happy to work with a business if they think it might be helpful to have some kind of seminar, like a lunch and learn or something for their employees, even a webinar. We do our own webinars on a monthly basis through our website. But we also do, sort of planned events for people because there's a group of people going through the same thing, right? And so everyone being able to get together, hear the basics of the planning, which we love to get that message out because we really want to help people early on in the process. We'd rather help people early than in the crisis because the outcomes just are generally better. But, if we get a group of people together that want to talk about it and they share questions and they learn from each other and they learn from us, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you guys have an event coming up here soon. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do. We have a senior resource fair that's coming up at the city of Fort Mitchell. and that's going to be on April 17th at 9 in the morning. And so we'll be there to talk about the legal aspect of things. There'll be someone there to talk about Medicare insurance because that is really important. So that's Senior Benefits Simplify. They're a local company. They're going to talk about picking the right plan and all of that kind of stuff. And then Home Watch Caregivers will be there as well to talk about the in-home care component of things. So we have a good group that's going to come together and really cover a lot of important topics.
Yeah, really important for people to go to that if they are in that process of planning or looking ahead. I know we have a really wide range of podcast listeners, whether it be the YPs who are not necessarily in that group, but the sandwich generation and then older on. But when you think about like the types of people that you're working with and the types of things that you're practicing, we've already talked about the care coordinator aspect that really makes you guys stand out. Is there anything else that you guys do that you think is unique that our chamber members need to know about you guys?
Well, I think a couple of different things. One, right now we're sort of working on some online components. So, and I think this more would apply to the YP type crowd where the estate planning needs are, they're not as complex as we see on like the elder law side of things, right? So we can sort of meet people where they're at, do a lot of the discussions, a lot of the planning online. So have to meet in person for signatures because that's just how that works. But I think we're just meeting people where they are. So it makes it easy to get these documents in place because they are critical. And I think that's the younger generation thinks, I don't need a will. I don't really have much stuff yet. But it's common, and we're a judgment-free zone. I tell this all the time. Like, I have people that come to me from 18 years old to 88 years old that have, that don't have a will, and it's fine. The important thing is that you're doing it right. There's no better time to do it than now, right? Because the crisis can happen. So I think that's, we're offering some ways to meet people where they're at. Quite frankly, kind of compete with some of the other online services that are delivering wills because we want it to be a personalized experience because it should be something that's personalized. It shouldn't just be something you kind of download a form. We've seen those. They don't tend to be that great. We provide something more comprehensive. And then, I think for the sandwich generation, not only can we help their parents, but often what we're finding is when we're helping the parents, they're like, yeah, and I haven't done my planning either, so let's do mine. So we have that demographic that wants to work with us. And what they want to see a lot of times is to think about what can they be doing in that sort of midlife range of, are there things I should do to plan ahead for when I am my parents' age? Do I do that now? Do I do it in the future? And we have those conversations. We really sit down and have a very comprehensive introduction and kind of consultation with our clients to make sure they're well informed.
Yeah, well, that is so important. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. And for people who are listening to this and say, Stages is right for me, I need to get in touch, how can people get more information and get in contact with you?
Easiest way is our website. It's just stages.law, .law, not .com, right? So stages.law, all the resources are there. We have a booking link there where you can actually schedule a call with us to get things started and make sure that we're all a good fit for each other and go from there.
Well, that is great. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Knockelman, owner of Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. As we kick off 2024, I want to let you know about a major giveaway of a free system, a complete furnace and air conditioning system for your home. All you have to do is go online at skpha/2024 giveaway, and you can register, no purchase necessary, to win this complete system for your family. If you're not interested because your system is too young, please share this with your friends and neighbors so that they have an opportunity to win also. And if you're not in the market for a new furnace and air conditioning system, make sure you call us and schedule your furnace tune-up here for the winter. And just remember, call Schneller Knockelman, your family-owned company. Trust us, we're going to be there for you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast this week and learning a little bit more about DCCH, Center for Children and Families, and Stages Elder Law and Estate Planning. We are excited about the Business Impact Awards happening on May 2nd. Don't forget to get your tickets and learn more about our finalists at nkychamber.com/BIA. Finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on NKY at Work, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you or at our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.